As the nation's population becomes more diverse, so do the needs of the patient population that enters U.S. hospitals. As caregivers with direct contact with patients from a wide spectrum of races, ethnicities, and religions, nurses need to be aware and respectful of the varying needs and beliefs of all of their patients. In its position statement on cultural diversity in nursing practice, the American Nurses Association states that knowledge of cultural diversity is vital at all levels of nursing practice. Nurses need to understand how cultural groups understand life processes, how cultural groups define health and illness, what cultural groups do to maintain wellness, what cultural groups believe to be the causes of illness, how healers cure and care for members of cultural groups, and how the cultural background of the nurse influences the way in which care is delivered. Additionally, the Joint Commission requires that all patients have the right to care that is sensitive to, respectful of, and responsive to their cultural and religious, spiritual beliefs and values. Assessment of patients include culture and religious practices in order to provide appropriate care to meet their special needs and to assist in determining their response to illness, treatment, and participation in their health care. There are a number of ways to comply with the requirements for providing culturally diverse care. First, be self-aware. Know how your views and behavior is affected by culture. Appreciate the dynamics of cultural differences to anticipate and respond to miscommunications. Seek understanding of your patients' cultural and religious beliefs and value systems. Determine their degree of compliance with their religion and culture, and do not assume. Furthermore, respond to patients' special needs, which may include food preferences, visitors, gender of healthcare workers, medical care preferences, rituals, gender roles, eye contact and communication styles, authority and decision making, alternative therapies, prayer practices, and beliefs about organ or tissue donation. We need to be able to care for diverse populations because our country is growing increasingly diverse. Oftentimes, persons who are in minority groups or who are underrepresented have different healthcare needs. It's important for us to have a student population that is equally diverse as our client. We need to prepare a workforce that not only knows how to work with diverse people, but also represents them. In Jewish law, although the human soul exists before birth, human life begins at birth, that is, at the time when the child is more than halfway emerged from the mother's body. Judaism completely rejects the notion of original sin. According to Judaism, a child is born pure, completely free from sin. After a child is born, the father is given the honor of an aliyah, an opportunity to bless the reading of the Torah, in a synagogue at the next opportunity. At that time, a blessing is recited for the health of the mother and the child. If the child is a girl, she is named at that time. A boy's name is given during the Brit Milah, which is the ritual circumcision. It is customary among the Jews to name a child after a recently deceased relative. This custom comes partly from a desire to honor the dead relative and partly from superstition against naming a child after a living relative. It is almost unheard of for the Jew to be named after his own father, though it does occasionally happen. Follow the commandments in Judaism. The Brit Milah, literally covenant of circumcision, is probably the one most universally observed. Like so many Jewish commandments, the Brit Milah is commonly perceived to be a hygienic measure. However, the biblical text states the reason for this commandment quite clearly. Circumcision is an outward physical sign of the external covenant between God and the Jewish people. It is also a sign that the Jewish people will be perpetrated through the circumcised man. The health benefits of this practice are merely incidental. It is worth noting, however, that circumcised males have a lower risk of certain cancers, and the sexual partners of circumcised males also have a lower risk of certain cancers. The commandment is binding upon both the father of the child and the child himself. If a father does not have his son circumcised, the son is obligated to have himself circumcised as soon as he becomes an adult. A person who is uncircumcised suffers a penalty of karet, which is spiritual excision. In other words, regardless of how good a Jew is in all other ways, a man has no place in the world to come if he is uncircumcised. Circumcision is performed on the 8th day of the child's life, during the day. The Bible does not specify a reason for the choice of the 8th day. However, it is believed upon the Jews that an infant's blood clotting mechanism stabilizes on the 8th day after birth. Their circumcision is performed by a moil, literally a circumciser, a pious, observant Jew educated in the relevant Jewish law and in surgical techniques. Circumcision performed by a regular physician does not qualify as a valid brit milah, regardless of whether a rabbi says a blessing over it, because the removal of the foreskin is itself a religious ritual that must be performed by someone religiously qualified. While a circumcision is performed, the child is held by his godfather. Various blessings are recited, including one over wine, and a drop of wine is placed in the child's mouth. The moil takes some wine in his mouth and applies his lips to the part involved in the operation. The child is then given a formal Hebrew name, and as with most Jewish life events, the ritual is followed by refreshments or a festive meal. Muslims have some very simple rites for welcoming a child. There are a number of events that take place on or after the 7th day. After 7 days, the baby's head is shaved, a tradition that is also carried out by Hindus. This is to show that the child is a servant of Allah. Although Hindus may take the baby's hair to India and scatter it in the holy river Ganges, Muslims weigh it and give the equivalent weight in silver to charity. The Akikah is also traditionally carried out on the 7th day. This is a celebration which involves the slaughter of sheep. Sheep are sacrificed and the meat is distributed to relatives and neighbors and also given to the poor. The Muslim baby naming ceremony is called tajmiyah. A baby is usually named before or on the 7th day after his birth. At a Muslim shrine near Shalopur, India, babies have been tossed off roofs for nearly 700 years. Dropping a distance of about 50 feet, the terrified toddlers hurtle through the air before being caught in a sheet held by waiting men. Both Hindu and Muslim parents are reported to participate, believing that the dangerous ritual will ensure good health and prosperity for their families. It is very important in the Muslim culture to give an honorable name to the child. The Prophet had said that on the day of resurrection, everyone will be called by their names and their father's names. Many Muslim names have a religious meaning. If not religious, a baby will be given a name with a nice meaning or be named after a holy person. Baby boy and girl names are very distinct. Many girl baby names have feminine qualities such as beauty and softness associated with them. The 99 names of Allah are often used, but only with the prefix of Abdul, meaning slave of, in front of it. There are some formal restrictions in naming as well. Names that denote servitude to anyone other than Allah are forbidden. Names of tyrants, non-Muslim names, names of worship items, animal names, devil names, and names that do not have any meaning are forbidden. During the naming ceremony, Muslims call to prayer and recite, "God is great, there is no God but Allah," Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, come to prayer. These are the first words a newborn Muslim baby should hear. They are whispered into the right ear of the baby by his or her father. The baby's first taste should be something sweet, so parents may chew a piece of date and rub the juice along the baby's gums. It was a practice carried out by the Prophet Muhammad and is believed to help tiny digestive systems to kick in.
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله أشهد أن محمد رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. سماك الله اسما مباركا ببركة نبينا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم ببركة أنبيائك الإلهام ببركة أوليائك الكرام رضوان الله تعالى عليهم أجمعين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أميران أتشيار. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أميران أتشيار. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أميران أتشيار. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا وعملا متقبلا ورزقا حلالا طيبا واسعا. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا وعملا متقبلا ورزقا حلالا طيبا. اللهم إنا نسألك علما نافعا وعملا متقبلا ورزقا حلالا طيبا واسعا وشفاء من كل داء برحمتك يا أرحم.
When a baby has that first haircut, most parents keep a lock of the hair, while others keep a baby's first shoe. Japanese mothers typically cherish the umbilical cord. Hospitals in Japan package the cord inside wooden boxes and present the umbilical cord to the mothers upon their departure from the hospital. Inside the box, there is sometimes a small doll representing a sleeping baby wearing a kimono. The kimono can be unfolded and the umbilical cord placed inside. It is believed that preserving the umbilical cord in this way ensures a positive relationship between the child and the mother. 1 week after the child is born, the new parents and close relatives will hold a baby naming ceremony, the ashichiya, in which the child receives his or her official name in front of the Butsudan, which is the Buddhist altar. Would you put your baby or toddler outside in the freezing cold for their lunchtime nap? Most Nordic parents wouldn't give it a second thought. For them, it's part of their daily routine, due to the belief that the cold air actually helps babies sleep and eat better. Danish and Swedish infants spend the day asleep outside or on a balcony or the sidewalk while their mothers and fathers step into stores or cafes to enjoy some free time. Also, most daycare centers in Sweden put children outside to rest despite the low temperatures. The theory behind outdoor napping is that children exposed to fresh air, whether in the summer or the depths of winter, are less likely to catch colds. Parents believe that spending a whole day in one room with 30 other children does them no good at all. The Danish National Board of Health also recommends the practice. Some companies even make baby alarms that alert parents when their babies wake so they can go outside and retrieve them. There's a saying that every baby comes with a loaf of bread under his arm. Well, in Finland, babies really do come with a box. For 75 years, Finland's expectant mothers have been given a box by the state. It's a starter kit of clothes, sheets, and toys that can be used as a bed. Mothers have a choice between taking the box or a cash grant, which is currently set at €140 or $190 US. but 95% of them opt for the box as it's worth much more. Originally created for families on a low income, the maternity package became available to all parents in 1949. Since then, it's been a staple of new parenthood and a sign that no matter what their background, all Finnish babies will get an equal start to life. In contemporary Egypt, survival and the number 7 are inextricably linked. It's on the 7th day that a child's existence is formally acknowledged to the world in a naming ceremony known as Sebu. According to tradition, the mom places a baby, clothed in a white robe, in a large sieve and gently shakes it to help the newborn become accustomed to the varieties of life. Next, the infant is laid on a blanket on the floor with the knife placed along his chest to ward off evil spirits, while the guests scatter grains, gold, and gifts all around him. All are symbols of the plentiful abundance wished on the child. The mother sidesteps 7 times over the baby's body, again to ward off evil spirits, while incantations are chanted by the attendants for the child to listen to what his mother says and always obey her. A procession of lights and incense follows, with the new mother leading the way. Singing children and guests follow, bearing candles and incense to bless the house and its occupants. In Cebu, the child's name can be chosen by lighting several candles, each of which is assigned a different name for the baby. At the onset of the ceremony, the candle which burns the longest will indicate the child's name. When a baby gets his first tooth, Armenian parents celebrate with a ceremony called Agrahatig. They place the baby on the floor, surrounded by symbolic items, such as tape measures, a stethoscope, a spatula, a book, and other objects. Parents then encourage the baby to choose one of the articles. Whatever item the child picks up and plays with would symbolize his or her future. For example, if a boy chooses a tape measure, then it means that he'll be an architect or an engineer. Of course, only time will tell.
Okay. Mom, don't do that.
In Chinese families, when a baby turns 1 month old, the full moon ceremony is held to commemorate the first full month of life. This is the first important event for the newborn child. On the morning of the baby's 30th day, relatives and friends gather to give their blessings and gifts to the new baby. The baby's parents also give presents to their relatives and friends. The types of gifts vary from place to place, but eggs dyed red are usually the most popular gift, probably because in Chinese culture, eggs are a symbol of the changing process of life. The round shape is a symbol of a harmonious and happy life, while the red color is a sign of happiness. During the celebration, relatives and friends also give gifts. Grandparents usually give their grandchild gold or silverware to show their deep love. Of course, parents and the newborn receive modern gifts too, such as baby clothes, toys, books, and gift vouchers. But the most common is money wrapped in a piece of red paper. In other words, it's like a Western baby shower, but it's celebrated a month later. According to Jamaican tradition, after the mother gives birth, the afterbirth and the cord are buried in a special location and a tree is planted on that spot. The tree is provided by parents, godparents, or other relatives and friends. The tree is a tool which teaches the child to take responsibility in life, since it is used to show the child that this is the beginning of his life and he must take care of it. This tradition comes from a Jamaican expression that says, "Home is where your navel string is buried," symbolizing a spiritual attachment to the place from which every human being came. While some parents around the world don't feel safe leaving their babies playing on the floor as a method of preserving the child's health, Balinese babies' feet cannot touch the ground until their 210th day of life, due to the fact that a baby is considered a divine being which descended from heaven. When the child's feet touch the ground for the first time, it symbolizes their crossing over to becoming fully human. In Trinidad and Tobago, when people visit newborn babies, they usually put money in their baby's hands in order to bring prosperity and good blessings to the newborn. Another custom from this country is that some parents do not allow people to come into their house after 6 p.m., since it is believed the evening dew will make the baby sick. On the 7th day after the birth of a Nigerian Yoruba baby girl, and on the 9th day for a boy, the child is blessed with certain elements, which are usually delivered as a taste on the lips of the mother and baby. They are given water in order to have no enemies, palm oil in order to have a smooth and easy life, bitter kola, a type of nut that is eaten in Nigeria, in order to have a long life, and pepper and salt in order to have a sweet life filled with excitement, substance, and happiness. A name is then chosen for the baby. Apart from the family name, the child is given several other names. One of the names describes the circumstances surrounding the birth. For instance, the name Aruwu means child born after twins. Another example would be if an elderly woman in a certain community died just before the birth of a baby girl, in which case the girl would be called Yetu Dandu, or the mother has come back. The parents often have a pet name that indicates what they hope for their child, such as Ayoku, meaning one who is blessed, or Titayalu, meaning an eternal happiness. Then the parents announce the baby name, and the relatives are involved to add extra names if they wish. Before they say the names, they are asked to place a token, a monetary contribution, in a basket for the child. After everyone has had a chance to give the child a name, the monetary tokens are collected and handed to the parent to open an account for the child, and the child may end with 20 or more names. This ceremony closes with prayers, and then the meal begins. In Brazil, the expectant mother prepares a basket with souvenirs that are given to each person who comes to the hospital when the baby is born. Usually, the gift is a small one, such as candies, fridge magnets, customized notepads, and even tiny bottles of perfume, all of which are chosen by the mother before the baby is born. Most of the time, there's also a message providing the baby's name and thanking them for visiting. After delivering her baby, a new Malay mother undergoes a pangtang, or confinement period lasting about 44 days, which is designed to preserve the health and femininity of the mother. She then receives hot stone massage to cleanse the womb and a full body exfoliation treatment, said to soothe soften and lighten the skin, chasing away postpartum body changes. New moms are not allowed to lift heavy things or do anything apart from nursing the baby. All of the house chores fall to the husband, relatives, who will volunteer, or hired helpers.